Okay, so ready to jump back into Baron Trump.
Yeah, let's get back into it.
Last time we were talking about this book, Little Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. And
It's quite a journey.
yeah, and we talked a lot about the
Yeah, what was it? The technology and stuff, right?
yeah, the inventions, the weird technology and all
The
that.
fantastical elements. Yeah.
So this time I thought it'd be fun to like focus in on all the different groups of people he meets.
Oh yeah, he meets a lot of people.
So, it's almost like, yeah, if you've ever like traveled to a new country
Or even like started a new job.
yeah, or even just like, gone to a party where you don't know anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that feeling of like,
Right.
okay, I got to figure out the rules here.
Right. What are the customs? How do I?
What's appropriate?
What's expected of me?
Yeah.
How do I not, completely offend everyone?
And it's like Baron Trump like takes that to a whole other level.
Oh yeah, times 1,000.
Okay, so like one of the first groups that I thought was really interesting were the Sullenites.
Oh yeah, the glass people.
The transparent people.
Right.
You know,
You can see right through them.
everything.
Everything. Like all their organs, their thoughts, you name it.
So like, can you imagine
Yeah.
like living in a world
Talk about no privacy.
where you could never hide anything?
Right. You stub your toe, everyone knows exactly how much it hurts. You have a bad thought about someone, boom, it's right there for them to see.
And so the book actually like uses this to kind of play with the idea of like radical transparency.
Right. Like, is that actually a good thing? Would we be better off if we could all see each other's true feelings all the time?
Because in the book, it kind of shows that like they're super paranoid.
Oh, yeah, they don't trust any
They're constantly suspicious.
especially of Baron Trump. I
Right.
mean, he is this outsider who just shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah, and they're terrified he's going to like exploit them somehow.
Which, historically speaking, groups that are perceived as different are often the ones who get taken advantage of.
There's that one scene, I think, where like he tries to give him some kind of medicine.
Oh, yeah, and they think it's poison.
Yeah. They're like, get that away from us.
It's like their whole worldview is built on this deep distrust.
It's kind of sad.
It is. It's like they can't even imagine the possibility of genuine kindness.
Okay, so then there's the rattlebrains.
Oh, those guys.
So
They're true.
okay, so trying to describe the way they talk,
Good luck with that.
it's
It's like listening to a broken record player.
yeah,
All these words and phrases jumbled up together.
but like with no clear meaning.
It's all just nonsense.
And poor Baron
He's just like, what are you talking about?
is like pulling his hair out trying to understand them.
You almost feel bad for him, but it's also kind of hilarious.
But I think the book is like kind of making a point there about communication.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like we've all been in situations where we
But
just
you just can't connect with someone.
yeah,
Either you're speaking different languages or
or even if you're speaking the same language.
sometimes it feels like you're from different planets,
Totally. Like you're saying the same words.
but they mean different things.
And so it creates all these misunderstandings.
And frustration.
So speaking of misunderstandings,
Yeah, what about the micromen?
oh my God.
Those guys.
The Microman.
So tiny, but man, do they have big personalities.
They are so small.
Right. Like barely taller than a blade of grass.
Yeah, Baron's like towering over them.
But they expect to be treated like royalty.
And they have this like,
Superiority complex the size of a house.
it's ridiculous. And Baron, of course, just finds the whole thing absurd.
Right. He's like, you're kidding, right?
And so leads to all these funny scenes.
Where they're trying to assert their dominance.
Yeah.
And he's just like completely unimpressed.
Yeah, but it makes you think about like how often.
Do we do that too?
Exactly. Like we all know people who,
Act way bigger than they actually are.
yeah, like trying to compensate for something.
Maybe. Or maybe they just have a really inflated sense of self-importance.
Okay, then you have the giants.
Oh, the tall folk.
Yeah, they're like the opposite of the Microman.
Literally and figuratively.
Right. They're huge.
It's imposing, slow-moving,
They have this like ancient wisdom vibe.
and their customs are very like,
Rigid.
yeah, unchanging.
They've been doing things the same way for centuries.
Yeah. And so like Baron, he's like this little kid, bouncing around with all this energy and like he's trying to explain things to them about the world above.
Like the concept of time.
And they just don't get it.
Yeah, they just look at him like he's crazy.
It's like they're so set in their ways, they can't even comprehend something outside of their own experience.
Yeah, and it's funny because you kind of see how they just like dismiss him.
Right, because he's so small and insignificant compared to them.
But it makes you think about how often we do that to people who are different from us.
Right, we just write them off because we don't understand them.
Okay, last but not least,
Hit me with it.
the frozen land.
Oh, man.
Talk about a tough place to live.
It's brutal. Everything's frozen. It's dark all the time.
Baron is not prepared for this at all.
Right. He's used to luxury, comfort,
He shows up in his fancy clothes.
which offer absolutely no protection against the elements.
He's shivering.
He can barely see where he's going.
He's totally out of his element.
And the people who live there are just as harsh as the environment.
Suspicious, hardened.
Can you blame them, though? They've had to fight to survive in this unforgiving place.
Yeah, it makes you think about how your environment shapes who you are.
Totally. Like, we're all products of our surroundings.
And I think this is why the book is still so relevant today.
It's not just a kid's story.
Yeah, like all these weird encounters,
They're like metaphors for the challenges we all face.
navigating different cultures,
Dealing with difficult people.
trying to understand people who are different from us.
Exactly, and it shows how we can learn and grow from those experiences.
Like even Baron, who starts out kind of arrogant and spoiled.
Right. He thinks he knows everything.
By the end of the book,
He's a lot more humble.
he's more open-minded.
He realizes his way isn't the only way.
So the big takeaway here,
What have we learned?
I think it's about recognizing,
The importance of empathy.
understanding different perspectives,
Being willing to step outside of our comfort zones.
even if it means feeling a little bit uncomfortable sometimes.
Because that's how we grow.
That's how we connect with each other.
And that's how we make the world a little bit better.
That's our deep dive for today. But before we go, I want to leave you with this.
A parting thought.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think about a time when you felt like a total outsider.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like you were dragged into a situation
Where you didn't know the role.
where you didn't get the people.
And you had to figure it out.
How did you handle it? What did you learn?
Until next time.
Keep exploring.
And keep an open mind.